This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Fox News alert, we just got a peek inside Obama's black book, and it turns out Barack knew the Russia hoax was a hoax all along, but pushed it anyway to sabotage the Trump presidency. DNI Tulsi Gabbard declassifying pages and pages of documents, showing Obama's intel guys briefed him just weeks after the 2016 election that the Russians didn't actually sway the election. Quote, we assessed that Russian and criminal actors did not impact the recent U.S. election results. Criminal activity also failed to reach the scale and sophistication necessary to change election outcomes. But Obama just couldn't accept that. So he and his staff instructed intel agencies to cook up new reports to support Russia collusion. Quote, after the meetings, Clapper's executive assistant emailed intelligence community leaders, tasking them to create a new intelligence community assessment per the president's request that detailed the tools Moscow used and actions it took to influence the 2016 election. Tulsi Gabbard described what she found as a conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people. And she says the people involved should be prosecuted and has made a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. We knew Hillary created the dossier, and now we have proof that Barack was calling the shots and the documents to prove it.
Breaking news, just in, President Trump has officially just filed the lawsuit against Dow Jones, the Wall Street Journal, News Corp, Rupert Murdoch, and others over that Wall Street Journal article that dropped last night about the Jeffrey Epstein birthday book. Trump is seeking, and I'm going to say this twice so you understand that I'm quoting the actual number here, $10 billion in this case, $10 billion with a B. Trump accuses the defendants of defamation, saying they acted with malicious intent and have caused him overwhelming financial and reputational harm. The Wall Street Journal reported, as I said, that a 50th birthday book for Epstein in 2003, before Epstein became notorious, included a letter bearing Trump's name and a drawing, a cartoon of sorts, of a naked woman. President Trump says he had nothing to do with the writing or the drawing.
Welcome, my friends, to the Saturday Morning Vibe. If you would like to be part of the program today, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us, 800-848-9222. Blockbuster stories, probably one of the most consequential stories in American political history if there is a court action that follows, if the people that are involved with this criminal referral actually have to account for their actions in an American court of law. Oh, what a week. And that's not even all the news. There's so much news, as always, that we could spend the next 10 hours going through some of the things that happened. But these are big, big stories. Yes, at the top you heard the audio bite from one of the first newscasts out. Tulsi Gabbard was the one with Sean Hannity last night where she revealed all of this, but there's a press release that is put out from the National Intelligence Agency, DNI. New evidence of Obama administration conspiracy to subvert President Trump's 2016 victory and presidency. In the months leading up to the 2016 election, the intelligence community consistently assessed Russia is probably not trying to influence the election by using cyber means. December, after the election, talking points were prepared for James Clapper, who was then the Director of National Intelligence. Foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on the election infrastructure to alter the presidential election outcome. They knew that Russia, this entire Russia collusion, James Clapper knew it. Foreign adversaries did not, probably not, trying to influence the election by using cyber means. That's what he said on December 7th, 2016. Foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on the election infrastructure to alter the election outcome. Then, 2 days later, Obama's White House gathered their top National Security Council principals for a meeting. James Clapper was there. John Brennan was there. Susan Rice, John Kerry, Loretta Lynch, the AG, Andrew McCabe, disgraced, now FBI, who CNN gulped up as their big analyst, and they discussed this. After the meeting with Obama, the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper's executive assistant, sent an email to all these intelligence leaders asking them, hey, create a new assessment. So we didn't like the assessment. The truth, their original findings, Russia was not trying to influence the election. They hatched a plot. Obama, this is a first. This is the first time it has been linked to the top. We all suspected this all along. Now there is evidence, and the timeline is laid out. Per the president's request. Per the request of Barack Hussein Obama, the intelligence wasn't accepted, and they were ordered to come up with a new report that details the tools that Moscow used and actions it took to influence the election. So in other words, no other words needed, the assessment, the real intelligence assessment. Russia wasn't involved in trying to change the United States election. Obama himself threw that out. Nope, you guys come up with a new report that says and detail how Moscow did it, how the Russians did it. So here's the president of the United States, sitting president of the United States, if all this is to be believed, that is using and asking the United States intelligence community to create false information attacking another foreign nation and accusing them of something that the administration knew they did not do. They knew it. But it was get Trump at all costs, so let's do this to try to delegitimize Donald Trump. Then Obama officials leaked false statements to the Washington Post and others saying that Russia had attempted through cyber means to interfere in, if not actively influence, the outcome of election. It didn't take long. In January, the intelligence community, acting on the orders from Barack Obama, issued a new report. And this is where all this stuff just took a life of its own. Tulsi Gabbard said, the issue I'm raising is not a partisan issue. It is one that concerns every American. The information we're releasing clearly shows there was a treasonous, these are the words of the current Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. The information we are releasing today clearly shows there was a treasonous conspiracy in 2016 committed by officials at the highest level of our government. Their goal was to subvert the will of the American people and enact what essentially was a years-long coup with the objective of trying to usurp the president from fulfilling the mandate bestowed upon him by the American people. Their egregious abuse of power, their blatant rejection of our Constitution threatens the very foundation and integrity of our democratic republic. Now, here is what I think will happen. This will be downplayed. Already, folks, I can't even try to imagine what this would be like if it were a Republican president that had tried to do this to Barack Obama or any other Democrat. Right now, every single mainstream newspaper, every mainstream television station would be splashed all across America, and it would be wall-to-wall outrage. If you look for all this information in the splash pages today of the mainstream media outlets, you won't find it. You'll have to search for it. That is going to be a pattern that they continue. Oh, this is old news. This happened. This is the biggest political scandal in American history so far. There could be others that come that'll even surpass this. But as a political scandal, this is the biggest political scandal in American history. A sitting president his administration uses American intelligence, it is alleged, to not only defame another country, which could incidentally trigger anything from a war if tensions escalated beyond a certain point, but he knowingly did this. And he did it so that he could delegitimize the president that's coming in office. Tulsi Gabbard has asked there be criminal referrals. There should be criminal referrals for everyone. From Barack Obama should be forced to go into court and address these charges. She called it a treasonous conspiracy. Clapper, Brennan, everyone, Susan Rice, every single one of the people that were involved in this needs to face justice. Period. 800-848-9222. Coming up on today's program, Princess Di. I cannot wait to hear from Her Highness Princess Di. She wasn't here last week with us. She was busy dealing with matters in her kingdom, or queendom, or princessdom. Coming up today, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock. Coming up today, Lizzie Radabali. I hope Lizzie's going to talk about that Coldplay concert. I really hope that that's on Lizzie's hit parade, but it remains to be seen. Because you talk about cold. Anyway. All right, Carlos. Who's this?
Okay, so today is the birthday of Brian May, guitarist, singer, and songwriter of Queen, who had the 1975 UK #1 that we're listening to, Bohemian Rhapsody. Really nice song. Too long, but really nice.
Too long, he says. One of the most famous songs in history. Too long. James Golden, Snerdley, Saturday Morning Vibe. Don't go away. Coming right back.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Heavenly birthday today for Alan Collins, guitarist with Leonard Skinner, passed away in 1990 from chronic pneumonia. He was paralyzed after a car crash back in '86, and that all stemmed from that. The music, of course, lives on. All right, we only have a few minutes left. We won't be able to listen to all of, in this segment, we won't be able to listen to all of it, but I do want to get to Tulsi Gabbard was on with Hannity last night. Yes, cut 4. Let's check in with Tulsi.
Documents that you're referencing that I've released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people, who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you referenced this President's Daily Brief document that was drafted for President Obama in early December that reaffirmed what the intelligence community professionals, as you say, had been assessing for the previous 6 months leading up to the election, which was that Russia neither had the intent nor capability to essentially hack the outcome of the U.S. election.
Boom.
As you said, President Obama's political appointees pulled that document before it could be published, and it has not been published until we released it today. And the very next day after they pulled that document, President Obama called a National Security Council cabinet meeting to discuss how Russia interfered with the election. Again, this is the first week of December
9th,
President
right?
Trump had already won.
I want you to pause it right there. Just pause it right there. Remember, every single Democrat that you could think of, from Nancy Pelosi, always bad-mouthing Trump. Oh, he doesn't pay attention to his intelligence documents. And Donald Trump has distrusted, and we know this, elements of the intelligence service that he inherited from Obama. These are the same people who lied to the American public. They knew that Russia was not trying to interfere with the election in the United States. What is alleged now is that at Obama's behest, at the president's behest, a political decision was made. Let's cripple Donald Trump. And they use the intelligence community to do it, knowing all the while that what they were telling the American people was not the truth. The intelligence community lied. The president, then president of the United States, Obama, lied. Don't go away. We're coming back.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, it's extremely disturbing at every level. And the fact is, President Obama needs to answer for this immediately. There needs to be a very clear and unequivocal answer to how this happened and why exactly his administration, in concert with the intelligence community, was changing reports to make it appear as though that Russia interfered in our elections and to further this entire scam that has been perpetrated on the American people to undermine his successor, President Trump. It is just fundamentally wrong. And everything that the American people have seen over the last decade since Donald Trump came onto the national political scene, it has been one event after the next in which Democrats and the intelligence community and the Department of Justice, institutions that are supposed to uphold our democracy, have frankly sought to undermine it at every turn.
That is a Republican who has not been the biggest fan of Donald J. Trump. That is New York Representative Mike Lawler. And I have been at times furious with Mike Lawler. Other times not. Other times he's been a real stand-up guy when it comes to some of the administration policies and some things that we have the Republican Party is trying to do. But there have been moments when Mike Lawler has been, look, this is a guy who I guess you can say is a guy that's just going to speak his piece no matter what. He's not just going to fall in line because everyone thinks he should. Sometimes that's infuriating, but he's an independent thinker, for sure. And for him to come out the way that he has, saying Obama needs to answer for this. Okay, Obama needs to answer for this. 1986. On this day, Genesis was at number one with Invisible Touch. The first band and foreign act to have 5 singles reach the top 5 on the U.S. Billboard's Hot 100. But the same week, Peter Gabriel, of course, Genesis, was at number 2 with Sledgehammer. My friends, I could not wait. And so we're going to do this today twice.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
Your Ness, Your Highness, your Vacation Ness is back from Vacation Ness and here in the news Ness. And I can't wait, Ness, to find out what is on your mind. Princess Diana, welcome back.
Thank you, Sir James Ness. It's wonderful to be back. It's been a great week.
What? I don't even want to deal with the Epstein stuff right now. What? We all knew this, but it is actually coming out. What's your take?
Well, I think you've done a masterful job of giving the only take necessary, which is basically to repeat this bombshell from Tulsi Gabbard, who's a member of the cabinet, who is using the word treason and basically calling for and sending, referring the matter to the Justice Department. And, one of the things, I don't think they're unrelated, the Epstein story in this, but one of the reasons that our side has been so discouraged over the years is because of the two-tier system of justice. We have on our side the, morose statement you hear from it. No one ever goes to jail. No one ever gets punished. There's no accountability from that side. And here we have it finally. One of the reasons I think there was an uproar on the Epstein story is because people on our side were, here we go again. Nobody in the elite is ever going to get called on the carpet. Nothing ever happens. And meanwhile, this has been going on, and I think they're not unrelated. I think the reason the Epstein story was ginned up, was spun up, was because the perps on this whole conspiracy knew this was coming. And this is the damage. This is a bombshell. This is one of the things that's like pulling the pin on a grenade straight in the heart of the deep state. And it also includes Hillary Clinton. And there is a story that I wanted to talk about later in Tablet Magazine where Lee Smith goes through another factor which is huge in this story is that Hillary Clinton was the impetus behind the entire thing. She got Brennan to basically bring it into the government under Obama. But this was a Clinton operation. In fact, it's called the Clinton Plan, that the intelligence was brought from John Brennan into the Obama administration. So the connection there needs to be made because Hillary Clinton is vulnerable legally as well.
Wow. And of course, we knew that too. And this goes to the entire deep state infrastructure, all the way to the law firms that they have employed to use as cover. This goes to members of the Intelligence Committee. Secretary of State John Kerry's role hasn't been amplified in this. I'm anxious to see exactly what he knew when he knew it. Brennan, Comey, in fact, Princess Diana, let's go back and listen, cut 6, Carlos, to then FBI Director James Comey testifying about this entire Russian collusion hoax.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication. They did it with overwhelming technical efforts. And it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community. And the members of this committee have seen the intelligence. It's not a close call. That happened. That's about as unfake as you can possibly get and is very, very serious, which is why it's so refreshing to see a bipartisan focus on that, because this is about America, not about any particular party.
So that was a hostile act by the Russian government against this country?
Yes, sir.
In that time frame, there were more than the DNC and the DCCC that were targets.
Correct. There was a massive effort to target government and non-governmental, near-governmental agencies like nonprofits.
What would be the estimate of how many entities out there the Russians specifically targeted in that time frame?
It's hundreds. I suppose it could be more than 1,000, but it's at least hundreds.
Every single word of that was a blatant lie. When you think about what could have happened, and thankfully did not, Russia, a nation accused of attacking United States elections, if that had spiraled out of control, this nation could have been thrust into a war with Russia, all based on political information that was built on a lie from the President of the United States, secretaries of state, heads of the American intelligence, and this man, James Comey, goes before Congress and lies out his teeth about no fuzz being on any of this. What should the proper response be legally, Princess Diana, for Comey, for all of them, the people in the intelligence community that knowingly went before Congress and lied?
Well, interestingly enough, what needs to happen is already happening. Now, this made little splash, but John Radcliffe 4 days ago, who is the CIA director under Trump, John Radcliffe, confirmed there is a criminal probe of Comey and Brennan. And, you know, as far as Gabbard's revelations yesterday was just amplified on something that is already happening. All of these names are under criminal probe. And so when Tulsi Gabbard, who is a member of Trump's cabinet, uses the word treason, this is very, very serious. This is at the highest levels of the Trump administration, that they are actually going for accountability and results of the crimes committed against the country. It's not only against the first Trump administration. And amplifying what you just said, This was an absolute 180 that happened geopolitically because the left had always been very favorable to the USSR originally and then Russia. And it was upended so that they then became anti-Russia because of Hillary Clinton losing the election, and she wanted to blame something. And so she came up with this strategy, Hillary Clinton herself, and the poison from Hillary Clinton was injected into the Obama administration, and that was what started the left changing on a dime from being pro-Russia to being, as they are now, anti-Russia, and everyone basically accepted it. This was a geopolitical and domestic political transformation of how everyone had behaved for decades. And so now we are still living in the aftermath, and it will not be put right until people are properly punished, which looks like it's happening.
Let me just mention something. I mean, I hear you saying that Hillary, and I agree with that. But I'm going to also say something. There's no question to me that Barack Obama hated Donald Trump. At first, he was dismissive. Let's go all the way back to that White House Correspondents' Dinner, Trump sitting in the audience, and Obama takes it upon himself to just try to ridicule and mock Trump from the position of, now some might say, well, that's fair game, because Trump had talked about, the birth certificate, blah, 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 blah. But, okay, whatever it was, there has been an animosity between these two men. Then when Trump announced Obama's reaction, and it was entirely dismissive all the way around. In fact, I remember him saying to world leaders, some world leader asked about the possibility of Donald Trump becoming president, and Obama's reaction was, like, I don't have the quote in front of me, but it was so dismissive, it was kind of one of those, are you crazy? He'll never become president. And then when he was asked specifically as Trump started to advance in the polls and everything, I remember everything he had to say was dismissive. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Wave a magic wand and change the economy? What are you going to do? And all that. Now, when Trump won, I think the most shocked human being on the face of the earth was Barack Obama, who thought that after him, the American public would never, ever vote for Donald Trump. And I think there has to be, in my mind anyway, I can't read the guy's mind, I don't know what's in his heart, but I think the appearance of a vendetta is something that I can't overlook either. What would you say about that?
I agree totally. And it's amazing to look back at the photos of the quote-unquote peaceful transition of power from Obama to Trump at the time, knowing what we know now, that Obama had been effective in setting up this 100% coup against his successor. And you see these photos and this, lie that he was doing everything possible to bring in the successful, peaceful transfer of power. And Trump really walked into a lion's den. It's amazing that the first term of Trump was as successful as it was, and it was, despite what the entire government of the United States under Obama had thrown at him. And the fact that he was able to succeed with his tax cuts, with his transforming of the economy, just really speaks to his strength politically and as a leader. So it's amazing now that he gets to actually finish the job, Trump does, of what he started in setting things right from that first very, very evil action by the Obama administration.
Princess Di, we're going to take a break. We will call you back in the 9 o'clock hour, Your Highness, and we have a lot more to talk about. I want to get your take on, I've been waiting for your take on this Epstein mess, and I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about that. There have been so many other things this week. The redistricting stuff, I think this is a huge story, and it's just buried. This redistricting stuff could be so much fun, but
Well, I look forward to talking with you later. Thank you,
okay.
Sir James.
All right, Princess Diana, ladies and gentlemen, And your calls are coming up as well at 800-848-9222. Beatles. On this day in 1967, Beatles were at number 1 on the UK singles charts. With this one, it was their 12th number 1 single. I'm about to say iconic, and then I'm listening to myself like, okay, what Beatles song that makes number 1 isn't iconic? All of them. I mean, the Beatles. James Golden, Snerdley. Saturday Morning Vibe continues. Don't you dare go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Let's check out our good friend Ronnie in California. How are you, Ronnie?
I'm fine, and you, Bo?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, great. I've been doing some research on the military tribunal, and I read that it's used when the courts are unavailable. That's one of the options, right? And because Tulsi Gabbard had indicated that they should be tried for treason or sedition, I'm wondering if that can be utilized in this case because
I would think not. I would hope not. I think this needs to go through our regular court system. If the DOJ does find that there is evidence, I think that there should follow process. There should be grand jury indictments. Those people indicted should show up. The evidence should be laid out and tried in American courts where they have the chance to appeals, not military courts. And let's see where this goes. I think it needs to follow process. And the process that the American people would expect would not be a military trial. It would be in a civilian trial. They were holding the highest civilian titles that we have of responsibility in this country. This should go before the American people in the American judicial system that every civilian has to face. And that's my take on it, Ronnie. What do you think?
Even though these courts, the federal courts, have shown themselves to be very biased, I wouldn't want to take that chance because if we got a jury who was compromised, what kind of message would that send if they were let off?
Look, I mean, here's the point in that, too. The system we have is the system we have. If the evidence is compelling enough, and there were what you're talking about is a jury nullification. If you're afraid that they look at all the evidence and say, "Oh no, never mind," because of what, that's a chance that we have to take. I think the simple act that they would be brought up to face these charges, if potential charges, and all of it would be laid out for the American people. I think that would be a huge victory from this standpoint. And by the way, if they lied about all of this stuff, election, who knows what else we'll find out that they were scheming about. So I appreciate it. Ronnie, oh, by the way, Ronnie, you know that the founder of In-N-Out, which is the huge chain out there, they're leaving California. Right. They've had enough. And the company, I think, is going to headquarters somewhere else, maybe Tennessee or something like that.
Yeah, I know. So, everybody's leaving. Yeah, and I'll be on that bandwagon, too.
Ronnie, thank you so much. Always love hearing from you.
Take care.
Thank you. Richie in the Bronx, New York, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, James.
Good morning.
The notion that if Russia wanted to influence the 2016 election, they would favor Donald Trump over Hillary is ludicrous because Russia already knew that Hillary could be bought off because of the uranium affair.
You know, you're bringing up something that I would have to go back and do a refresher course on. The reason being, there have been so many scandals that the Clintons have been involved in, including the stuff from their foundation, the Haiti stuff, then going all the way back into their first term, scandal after scandal after scandal, from the travel office stuff to the Whitewater stuff to all of it. There's been a lifetime of scandal. The details on all these scandals I have to refresh myself on. But I take your point. It's ludicrous. They knew who Hillary was, and so the idea that they wouldn't want her in office, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Brian in Brooklyn, New York. Brian, how are you?
I'm great, Paul. How are you?
Very well. What's on your mind?
I'm a huge fan, but I want to just state for the record, I'm a Massachusetts liberal Democrat, but I'm conservative. I want to say one thing. You're always knocking the Democrats, and you never look at the Republicans. All this stuff has to stop because it's never going to stop. What we need to do is take care of the people now and govern. 1 out of 4 kids go to bed hungry in Manhattan. I'm a pediatric surgeon here in the city, and I'm disgusted with the fact that we're not addressing issues that are important.
Who runs New York?
Scandals.
Who runs New York? Who runs New York?
Democrats. The Democrats.
Okay. You're knocking Democrats there. I want you to hold on, please. It may be a minute, but please don't go away because I want to speak with you further. We got to go right now, though, because hour number uno is in the can. And hour number duo is coming up. And so Lizzie, our very own Lizzie, is going to be with us. And stay right here. Saturday Morning Vibe continues. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one couple who really loves Coldplay.
Lizzie, are they Lizzie? But are they really a couple, Lizzie?
Well, yeah.
Are they?
Define couple. Define couple for me, Bo. Would 2 people canoodling count as a couple?
I guess if you're out at a concert and the kiss cam happens to catch you all snuggled up and huddled up on each other, I mean, I guess.
So you saw the video, Bo. You saw the video.
I saw that Astronomer CEO, I never knew this company existed, but
that's actually something some people have been saying online, that, maybe this whole thing is just staged, because every headline has this astronomer CEO. A lot of press, a lot of free press that they're getting, but is any press good press? That's a debate that, we'll table for another time.
I don't think it's a good press for him. The Astronomer CEO, Andy Byron, is now under formal investigation by his board of directors after allegedly, I don't know how you can say allegedly.
Yeah, he's caught on camera.
Caught on the Jumbotron with the company's HR, Kirsten Cabot, at a recent Coldplay show.
Now, I have to say, I actually know someone who was at this concert, it happened this Wednesday night, and it was at Gillette Stadium. That's where the New England Patriots play out in Boston. Now, I had a friend. First clue. Yeah, I had they get down and dirty in Boston. I know, I went to school there. My friend from high school said, she posted on Instagram that, she was there for this explosive night. The drama was insane. I asked her, I said, hey, you were really there? What was it like? Were people kind of screaming? And she said, yeah, I mean, the crowd had a huge reaction, but then after that, it was business as usual. It was a concert. I really want to know, though, so for anyone who hasn't seen the video, it's this Jumbotron moment, at a concert or a game. They're always panning to the crowd to get the reactions. Sometimes it's really funny stuff. There have been incidents in the past of cheaters caught on the Jumbotron. I mean, this is not even really the first time this has happened, but this is the first time it's happened, and it's been taking over the news cycle. I mean, it's the front page of the New York Post right now. It's everywhere. You cannot
don't
escape
mean to
this
laugh.
story. No, it's hilarious because this is so absurd. And some people have pointed out that, like you said, this is the CEO of a company, and he was caught canoodling with his head of HR. Now, there's conversations all the time when a business owner or someone higher up, a politician is caught with one of their staffers or employees. There's always that conversation of a power dynamic, an imbalanced power dynamic. Now, there's a whole ethical question here now with the HR getting involved. I mean, her whole job is to watch office romances. How do you keep an eye on yourself when you're
Well, that's
in an
not the
affair?
whole job, but I mean, Lizzie,
It's part of it. It's part of it.
Part
HR,
of it. I mean,
HRs do have to, maintain the peace at any workplace. They have to maintain the work environment.
Maintaining the peace.
Well, maybe this is her version of maintaining the peace. But I really want to know, so this video, they catch the couple on camera. It's the CEO and this HR chief. He's behind her, holding her. And the man, the CEO, immediately, once they notice they're on camera, ducks. He ducks and lets go of her. And I think that if they just acted normal, if they were just, not so caught, like a deer caught in the headlights, this probably would have just not even been a story. I don't even know if
you
the
have
wife
a great
would have
point
noticed.
there. Their reactions, because that was what caused the Coldplay guy, the front man, Chris Martin, joked as they were trying to depart from each other very quickly. Either they were having an affair or very shy.
And I mean, if you're very shy and you're on Jumbotron, I mean, I don't think the gut reaction is to let go of the person you're holding. That insinuates something more nefarious to me. And I really want to know what the story is. What happened afterwards? I mean, we see immediately.
Well, afterwards, first of all, did you hear about the fake apology?
No, I did not hear about the fake apology.
So within hours of him being caught, somebody issued a fake apology supposedly from the astronomer CEO Byron, and it went viral. It turned out to be a fake. And the fake apology that was released, part of the statement, I want to acknowledge the moment that's been circulating online and the disappointment that it caused. What was supposed to be a night of music and joy turned into a deeply personal mistake. Blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on and on. But it was a fake apology.
I completely missed that. And everyone's kind of just piling onto this story and putting in their 2 cents. I mean, apparently now, though, this guy is negotiating an exit package from Astronomer. So this has got. This is
and
really.
And by the way, the woman HR person, she wasn't married. She's a divorcee. Her divorce record, somebody has already, Fox News confirmed that Cabot and her husband filed for a divorce in 2018. Court documents appear to show that their divorce was finalized in 2022. No divorce records have been found for Byron.
Yeah, actually,
who still appears to be married.
The Post found the wife's of the CEO Facebook. They found her Facebook page and found family photos that were posted the day before the concert of the whole family and what seems to be their 2 sons at a graduation together, all together, happy little family. Once again proves to show you cannot trust everything you see on the social media. I mean, these people are just lying to you. They're lying to their partners. They're lying to the public.
Lying. He could have, look, Lizzie.
What, is cheating not lying now? Is cheating being truthful and honest?
Lizzie? You just look,
it is a bad thing that they did.
Don't make me go here because I'm going to get in trouble.
It is a bad thing that they did here.
Two things can be true at the same time. I'll just say that.
Well, the 2 things, if you're trying to insinuate that, this is kind of blown out of proportion, I mean, that is, there is some salt to that argument. I mean, infidelity happens every single day in this country, but,
I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it.
Some people are a bit more smart about it. They go to the local Motel 8. They go to, wherever, a closed door event, and they don't do this in front of millions of people. Well, now millions of people because this viral video has gone super, super viral. But, you don't do it in front of people where there's a Jumbotron. I mean, why? You're so brazen. First of all, to be committing adultery, but then to do it where there's cameras everywhere and might end up on you. Man, guts of steel. Guts of steel.
What do you think about the idea that that these Jumbotrons, these things, cause a little bit of trouble because they capture people without their consent? And in a way, it's an invasion of privacy.
Well, I would just argue that, the consent argument is kind of, it's not really relevant in this sense because you're consenting to being in this environment when you're going into a sports arena, going into a sports stadium. Unless you were born under a rock and this is your first ever baseball game or football game you've ever even seen, you know that there's Jumbotrons at this event. You know that there's big screens that capture everything. If you're really that concerned about, your identity being seen, there's ways around it. I mean, you could... I don't want to. You could stay home for one. You could stay home, be a hermit, be an agoraphobe, and just lock indoors all day. Or you could also do things to your appearance. Maybe face coverings if you're concerned about that sort of thing. There's special makeups that people do to avoid to trick different surveillance technology. So there's options out there if you're really that paranoid. But I think that the idea that this Jumbotron is kind of like Big Brother is not really valid in this case. I mean, the cameras that catch you on the secret cameras that are now in every metal scanner that you don't see, I think that's more of an issue maybe, but general Jumbotron, I don't have a problem with the Jumbotron.
All right, Lizzie, I guess one other thing I got to throw at you before we had to jump out of here. Social media, your generation, poor gal, you'll hear her. Let's take a listen. I call them Tucker Karens, but there may be a better word for it.
Do you know what it's like to have your dream to become the first physician in your family squashed overnight because of the government? It sucks. It really sucks.
Okay, stop crying.
I've been working for the past few years to get experience at applied medical school. I've been studying for the MCAT while working a full-time and a part-time job in order to make ends meet. I'm scheduled to take the MCAT on August 22nd. And I can't even go anymore because I can't take out more student loans. Private student loans would destroy me financially, even as a physician. And I don't even know what to do anymore. All of the work for the past 5 to 8 years just gone overnight.
Man,
Lizzie, what advice would you give? What advice would you give for someone like this, Lizzie?
Advice? I don't know. I'm just depressed after hearing that.
You're depressed.
Yeah, I mean, that's someone who wants to be, a healer, doctors.
And she can't take out more student loans because the student loan cost would be.
Yeah, I think that's bad that we're putting in all these barriers for people who want to. I mean, doctors are. Hospitals have been screaming that they're short-staffed for I don't even know how long. So I think that's been a problem really since the pandemic, and I think it'll continue to be a problem as we make it harder and harder for people to go to school, for people to get these degrees. I mean, MCATs are expensive too.
Yeah. You know what they used to do in the old days, Lizzie?
What did they used to do when what how much and wait how much was medical school back in the old days first?
That's not the point.
Okay.
Because you kind of know where I'm going with this, right, Lizzie?
Well, you're going to make the argument that they worked and paid their bills, but I would just say that the bills are just piling up, and the bills are unreasonable. And you heard her; she works part-time, full-time, and she still can't pay the bills. That's a problem.
What a novel idea. Work.
She is working.
And save your money.
She's a physician.
Yeah, I know. But then don't. Here's my point, Liz. My only point, Lizzie. If you're going to be dependent upon the government for your success, it is a terrible thing because the government giveth, the government can taketh away. If your success is based on, I'm going to make it no matter what the odds are myself, I'm going to achieve this. And if it takes me longer, if it takes me 15 years, if it takes 10 years, whatever, I want to work and make it happen. Why give up because of an obstacle is my only point. And I'm not saying I don't have sympathy for. I'm just saying, okay, but the old days, people used to not depend on the government for their success, is my only point.
Yeah, I don't think she's depending. I think that, it's a lifeline that's definitely, helping her out. And she said that she works full-time and part-time, 2 gigs. I mean, I think that's a sign that she's trying, and I really just I think it's
the woman's not trying.
Yeah, I mean, but it's if you're talking about relying on the government, then maybe we should take a look at some of the foreign countries that have been mooching off of us for free health care. I don't want to name any names, but
we're doing that. They're doing that. They're doing that, and they're doing it quite well. Some people are unhappy about that. But you know what, Lizzie? I think, though, that maybe, and, Princess Diana and I talked about this once, and we didn't get back in the circle on this. There's something with this student loan thing that's not right. And these exorbitant payments that some people are getting trapped into, it's
predatory.
Look, I know this. Yeah. Yes, you said the word, predatory.
Yeah. 1,000%. And yeah, it's going to be a bubble that bursts, and we're going to probably see in a few years that we're probably going to just ditch the 4-year system and degrees entirely for higher education and probably look more towards like work readiness courses and focus, centralized courses that give you skills and stuff. We're probably this bubble's going to burst, and we're going to have to clean up.
I don't know how that's going to work for medicine, but it's something we should talk about. And these... Yeah. Lizzie, as always, such a pleasure.
Always my favorite.
Where can people find you, Lizzie?
You can find us on WABCRadio.com. The podcasts of both the Saturday and Sunday shows are up every weekend. We're on air live at 5 a.m. Saturday and Sundays.
Congratulations on your show. Congratulations on your engagement. Thank you for being here with us, Lizzie.
Thank you so much, Bo. It was my pleasure.
Yes, Sly and the Family Stone.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, it's time for Protecting Your Future, sponsored by Colonial Metals Group. Here's James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley.
And as promised, on this week's edition of Protecting Your Future, I want to talk to you about a news story based on an event that happened yesterday. Investors cheer new crypto law while critics warn of potential for crisis. This story is from NBC News. President Donald Trump signed the Genius Act into law Friday afternoon. So, there are 3 measures, basically, folks, all of them dealing with digital currency. Trump received key support on Capitol Hill this week with the Genius Law, one of the 3 new laws, potential laws, regarding cryptocurrency. But he signed the Genius Act into law this week. Well, what does the Genius Law do? The Genius Law is one that could usher in a very significant change in our economy. It paves the way for private firms, private businesses to issue what are known as stable coins. They are privately issued digital money. Now, so what are we talking about? You know how Disney has their own currency for the Disney dollars you can spend in all the rodent kingdom, and then you can like the Joffrey bucks that Toys R Us had for the 21st century. Well, anyway, some firms have already been issuing these stable coins, but they have been operating in legal gray zones. The Genius Act lays out specific requirements for companies that issue stable coins. Like you have to comply with anti-money laundering laws. You have to monitor and report suspicious activity. But a lot of consumer protection advocates say these requirements are grossly inadequate. They say the reason you would never recommend grandma to use a stable coin is that she'd have to give away a dollar that's protected by the federal government and FDIC, which comes with a ton of consumer protections, which pays interest in your banking account. In exchange, stable coins don't have any of that stuff. But while the effects of the bill are not immediate, what is going to happen and what many of these experts see happening is that crypto's evolution from a niche, fringe corner of the economy is getting ready to propel into the mainstream, for better or for worse. And one of the things that has happened as a result of this is that Bitcoin is now the best performing major asset in the world this year. It climbed 30%. It's outpacing gold and the NASDAQ composite. What goes up can easily go down. Now, one of the things I just want to remind you of, digital currency is digital. You know what's amazing to me is that a lot of younger people in the younger generations are really studying this. I talked to two young men that I've known them since they were teenagers. One since he was 5 years old, the other since he was a teenager. And both of them hit me up this week on the phone talking to me about either digital currencies, or one is following gold. And what he's doing is he's trying to explain to me how he's investing in gold, and his gold payments are really propelling him. My point on protecting your future this week. The world is changing rapidly. If you are going to take the leap in, understand what it is that you're leaping into, whether it's stablecoin, whether it's one of the other digital currencies, and do not discount the existing investment opportunities that already are performing. Just because things are performing hot at the moment doesn't mean they're going to continue to go hot. There are things, and you have to measure your own risk. Year over year, gold has continued to perform. Other precious metals have continued to perform extremely well. Some areas of stock are performing really, really well at the moment. Can you believe? I know TJ has been talking to me about NVIDIA for a long time. NVIDIA is now the, I think, number one company in at least market cap in the world. And we remember when NVIDIA was just doing like those graphic. You could buy the graphic cards from NVIDIA to boost up your performance in computer monitors, your video game for gamers. And they have propelled that company now. That company surpassed Apple. They surpassed everybody. But my friend, it's a changing environment out here. Protect your future. Be careful. Don't invest blindly. And don't discount the things that have been around for generations. Just because there are a lot of new emerging things, don't discount, even though the growth rates may be slower than what we're seeing in some of these new digital rates, don't discount having a good blend if you want to put your foot into some of these new areas, the new stable coins that are going to be coming out. If you still want to go with the Bitcoins or Ether, or as they say, Ripple. I don't even know the Ripple coin. To be honest with you, I'm not familiar with it. But that's one of the three best in the digital currencies: Bitcoin, Ether, and I assume they're talking about Ethereum, right? Yeah, Ethereum and Ripple. So anyway, lot to digest. I would also recommend just talking to some of the younger investors that are studying this stuff up and down. That's how they spend their free time on their quest for wealth. You really can learn a lot, but just be careful with what you're doing. Now, at long last, my friends, we're back with Brian in Brooklyn, who has been so patient. And Brian, I thank you for your patience in waiting. We have some time
pleasure.
now that we can talk.
Sure. Listen, what I want to talk to you about is policy. And all this investigative nonsense that goes on to 2016 and going back and trying to hurt people is ridiculous. We need to spend time to find out what are we going to do with the kids in our boroughs these days. And for me, I want politicians not to go backwards, but to go forwards. And why aren't we taking care of kids, having programs that get them either into the military, into the conservation societies, get these teenage kids off the streets because, they're murdering each other. And we need them to see that there's more than just themselves in the world. And we need to put money into these programs. If we continue just to knock everybody and investigate everybody, we're going to go nowhere. Remember, these things are never going to change. Corruption is part of the human DNA. I mean, Robert E. Lee went back to Richmond and found everybody was corrupt. Jefferson and Adams were constantly at each other's throats. Things don't change. Adam and Eve, I mean, come on. Temptation is there. We are corrupt by nature, and we've got to make sure that we look after the kids. And that's all I ask these people to do. You have people like Stefanik and you got Maliotokis, all these Republicans who are just virulent against almost everybody. And they never say anything positive, and they never say anything that's going to be effective for the kids in our society. And it infuriates me that all these kids go to bed hungry at night. It's not right, Paul. And you know that. And all these attacks on the Democrats, they're all the same. The Democrats and Republicans are very similar. I told you that I'm a Democrat. My mother was an immigrant from Ireland, okay? So, of course, we're all Democrats. But I carried a gun. I wore the uniform. I went to the Persian Gulf Wars. I mean, I'm a Second Amendment guy. So there are conservative Democrats out there who are also pro, like I am. Obviously, I operate every day. But my God, you got to stop all this partisan attacks because they're all the same. That was what I wanted to tell you, Paul.
Okay, now I'm going to address that. Number one, I think these investigations should not be stopped. I think they should go full throttle because American citizens deserve to know the truth, number one. What happened with Donald Trump and with this attempted coup could have led America into a war that would have been disastrous. Aside from that, it bastardized our entire way of life in terms of our constitutional right to elect the president of our choice and not have the government try to do a coup on a president. That's serious business. It can't just be swept under the rug and pretend it didn't happen. And just because you're doing that doesn't mean you can't also address the things that you were talking about. And so let me talk about that for a minute. You mentioned hungry kids. There is another investigation. You may not like this. It's an investigation. But during the COVID era, it turns out in Minnesota right now, there's an investigation over billions of dollars that were misspent. It's not billions. $250 million in pandemic nutrition of $250 million fraud scheme that exploited federally funded children's nutrition programs during the pandemic. The FBI Director Kash Patel has announced 70 people in Minnesota have been indicted, and there are more coming, feeding our future. And my point in saying that to you is this. We have, and this is a generous nation, this nation has committed more money than any nation on the face of the earth to try to correct hunger, disease, and yet these problems still persist. Why is that? Why, after we have spent literally trillions of dollars on the war on poverty, or on various welfare programs. Why do we still have them at that number? And you hinted at it when you said policy. And it is because of these, in some cases, misguided policies. It is because of policies that were put in place that were, as you pointed out, corrupted, that all of this generosity that the American people have given has gone to waste. But there's another component to it, too. There is the component of people that simply take advantage of this and do not try ever to become self-reliant. And so now if you look, you can see generational welfare where people feel they're entitled to live on other people's energy, other people's money, and they don't care toward advancing their own life. So that is also an aspect in this. Now, you mentioned and you called out some names, Elise Stefanik, you called out Maliotokis of Staten Island. These women, I'm sure, if you look at what the things that they voted for, you would find things that you agree with. And so you single them out to characterize them as being something, but yet you object when people, you said in the beginning, you do. I hear you going after the Democrats and not the Republicans. Well, then I would just suggest to you, with all due respect, Brian, you're not listening very carefully, because I complain a lot about Republicans. I complain a lot about Democrats. Mostly I complain about Democrats because they're doing the most harm to our society. And that's just not me saying something from hyperbole or because I don't like Democrats. If you look at every single blue city in America, you see the same thing. You see third world conditions. You see beautiful cities that have now been degraded into third world with tents. The last time I was in Seattle, I couldn't believe it. Seattle is one of the wealthiest cities in the world. But all along Seattle, Tacoma, nothing but tents all along highways. You go out to San Francisco, it's been destroyed. You look at what's happening in Los Angeles, tent cities everywhere. You go look at what's happening in Philadelphia right now. It's a garbage heap on top of garbage in the birthplace, one of the birthplaces of our nation. You look at the once great cities of Detroit, of New York. You go everywhere the Democrats run, and you see the same thing. And you see, by the way, generations of African-American kids, Hispanic kids, who are not getting quality educations. And part of that, by the way, happens to be the lack of parental responsibility, not just the government, the lack of a moral center. But you see these things. What are we to do? Not comment on them? That's my question to you, Brian. I've spoken for a while. Now let you respond.
No, well said. Everything you said is well said. The reason that I brought up those two congressional people is because I think you have to have a fair and balanced sort of look. It goes both ways. I mean, Maliotokis was sorting stocks. Stefanik is a virulent partisan. Those are just facts. And if you're going to talk about the Democrats all the time, I think you got to spread it out. The channel is often an echo chamber where you guys are. You all sort of listen to each other, the Hannity and you, and, all of you are very conservative.
Let me stop you right there. I don't listen to anybody else. I don't listen to anybody's show because I'm too busy preparing for my own every day. And I don't go echo chamber with anybody. You cannot tell me, especially with some of the things that I talk about in my position on them, that they are lockstep with anybody, because they're not. I know they're not, just on the basis of the reaction that I get, even sometimes from people in my own party when I talk about some of these things. But I mean, we all have our opinions. I'm not trying to, and I'm not going to get defensive about what I do. And you say you say partisan? Hell yeah, I'm partisan. But I'm not partisan because I hate anybody. I'm partisan because we know what works and what doesn't work. What has worked. Yes, I'm partisan when it comes to actually wanting to see the laws of the nation enforced. I'm partisan when it comes to really wanting to see children as you taken care of and actually educated. I'm partisan to watch what has happened to every city in America under Democrat rule. Yes, I'm partisan Because what these people have done is destroying the very things that you say you care about. How can you watch what has happened with 11 million illegal immigrants coming in? You watch what happened with the crime rate. You watch, or how can you watch this stuff and not be partisan and say this is wrong, Brian?
Listen to me now. Every single day and night in the borough of Brooklyn, I take care of the poorest, most disenfranchised kids in America. And these kids, a lot of them who are illegal and who are completely ostracized by the power elites now, these kids are magnificent kids. They're already caretakers for their parents because they speak English and they're moving up. These are the future leaders of our country. And they may not look like me or like the green-eyed, blue-eyed power structure, but these kids are magnificent and they are very, very bright. And they're going to get an opportunity in this country that they wouldn't get anywhere else. So my optimism about them is very high. And
mine too. By the way, let's put a stop to that right there. Okay, I don't look like you by your description. I happen to have brown skin. But here's one thing, that my parents, and this used to be reinforced in the churches, it used to be reinforced in religious and spiritual circles, everything. Obey the laws of the country that you're in. I don't hate immigrants. We love immigrants. All we're asking for is for American law to be respected. Now, you, Brian, cannot walk into some other country, live off their dime, no matter how good a person you are, and they're going to accept you in there. And you know that. You can't even cross the border over in Canada and tell them that you're there for work against their laws. So why should Americans be treated like second-class citizens in their own countries? Why are you so willing, all of us willing? If you see some minority, some black guy breaking the law, it's okay for him to go to jail. But why in the world can't we demand that our laws be respected by everybody? What's so wrong about that?
I'm talking about fairness in health care. That's all I'm talking about. Oh, I'm trying to say that anybody who comes here who's sick and needs help gets it and gets it well. And that happens in Brooklyn. I tell you, we take incredible
care. And I'm glad for that.
And
you have a beautiful heart. You said you're a surgeon?
Plastic surgeon. I only operate on kids. But I mean, you got to understand, I'm an anomaly. And I tell you, being a liberal Democrat among all these people who are Republican and so right-wing, you got to fight every day with these guys.
Well, let me tell you something. New York is not a right-wing city, so you got me, my friend. I don't know where you found that little special district in Brooklyn that happens to be, because look what they're about to do, elect the communists in New York. What are you talking about here? Brian, I got to go, but can you please promise to call me again?
I listen to you every week. I purposely turn the radio on when I leave the hospital, and I listen to you. I think the world of you. Your music.
I think the world of you.
You're encyclopedic. But I want to tell you something. I saw Yellow Man in the grill. I was the only guy with green eyes in the grill that night, but I saw Yellow Man play Marley. So there you go.
I love it. Brian, I love you. I want you to call back, please, okay? Thanks. We got to go to a break. Oh, my gosh. What's this? I know who it is, but I want Carlos to say it. What's this, Carlos?
This is the one and only. Unfortunately, he stopped his concerts here, the Billy Joe.
Yep.
Pressure,
and
my second favorite song.
It is?
I like Longest Time better.
Okay, well, this is the day that New York declared July 19th Billy Joel Day. First artist to appear 100 times at Madison Square. Over 100 times, yeah. James Golden, Snerdley, keep it right here. Don't go away. Princess Di coming back. Also, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock in the next hour, and your calls. Don't go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Can't believe it, my friends. Hour number duo in the can. Hour number trio coming up. Princess Di is going to make a return visit. America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock too, so don't go away. Stay right there.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
If Democrats in Congress were looking for some good news in the polling, they are going to need a microscope. A new national survey shows historic lows. Just 19% of voters say they are happy with how Democrats in Congress are doing their jobs. That is the lowest since this polling began asking the question of happiness in 2009. Even liberal media cannot escape the bad news.
Democrats are behind their 2006 and 2018 paces when it comes to the generic congressional ballot. At least at this particular point, Republicans actually have more net pickup opportunities. This doesn't look anything like those wave elections back in 2006 or 2018. For anyone who's writing the Republican House's political obituaries, hold the phone. This is a reality check. Republicans are still very much in the game.
Hold the phone. Okay. Karl Rove is asking in his new op-ed, can anything save the Democrats? As 2026 approaches, they are disliked, divided, and devoid of effective leaders.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
Hour number 3 underway. As promised, a return visit from our very own Royal Highness, the Princess of Policy and all things goodness. Princess Di is back in the house. Welcome again, Your Highness.
Thank you, Sir James Miss. It's always good to talk to you.
Now, let's deal with this Epstein stuff. I'm just going to shut up because first of all, I was already fed up with it. And then comes this Wall Street Journal thing. And then comes the $10 billion. You know, this is going to be the biggest ass presidential library in the history of man. By the time CBS gets through paying for it, ABC, and if this presidential library is going to be like a Disneyland without the rat.
You are so right. It is so entertaining. And, you know, that your listeners may not know that Trump has dropped his lawsuit now. Not dropped, it has dropped. The news of it is $10 billion he is suing not only the Wall Street Journal, but Murdoch himself, the owner, and the writers of the piece. So this is personal as well as for the publication, for publishing this ridiculous Epstein trying to gin up some kind of scandal against Trump because nothing else is working. So what would you like to know?
I just want to know look, like I said earlier in the week, I am so, I find it amusing that every time some Democrat is on the show and they're asked, how come you guys didn't raise all this before? Like with even Scarborough on PMS DNC as Jamie Raskin. How come you didn't bring this up while you guys were in, and all you got was, you could hear the silence was like, humming, and then he starts humming, blah, 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 blah.
He had nothing. I do think when you played that was also one of the, best things of yesterday. Plus your interview with Susan Crabtree, who came across this connection, the reporter for Real Clear Politics you interviewed yesterday, who found this connection between the Steele dossier from the Russia conspiracy and this new Epstein piece in the Wall Street Journal. Interestingly enough, one of the writers for the Wall Street Journal, Joe Palazzolo, worked for Main Justice, which is the publication of Glenn Simpson's wife, Mary Jacoby. And Glenn Simpson was the founder and head guy at Fusion GPS, which was paid by the Hillary Clinton campaign to produce the Steele dossier. So it is all connected. You and I have talked about this before, that the same names are recycled in all of these scandals. They're the same, little tentacles from, I think, a lot of it from the Clintons that are still within the media system that gin up these scandals on cue. And here we have, in my opinion, this is the hoaxer's last stand, this Epstein thing, because did you read the Wall Street Journal article about this, by the way?
Yes. I read through it. And then I just got totally disgusted. I'm like, why is this even being printed?
Yes. And it's, the title of it is basically Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. Yeah. And this is a claim by the Wall Street Journal, one of the writers of which has the connection to the Steele dossier long ways, basically claims this was written by Donald Trump. They don't actually have this letter. They were shown this letter. Sources describe this letter. And so, first of all, you read what supposedly Donald Trump said in this little card, this birthday card. It's completely without interest. Did you? I'll read you a few of them.
Go ahead, read, please.
It was supposedly drawn or typed within a drawing of a naked woman. And this is what it says. Voiceover, there must be more to life than having everything. Donald, yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey, nor will I, since I know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Okay, I mean, even if this is written by Donald Trump, which I really doubt, there's nothing there. There's nothing to it other than the fact that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump were friends at one time. Everyone knows this. So I do not understand why this has been all over the place, supposedly significant. It isn't. It means nothing. And my theory is this really was written by a different Donald. And so that's why they couldn't show it to Donald Trump, because the handwriting, Donald signed this card, would be obviously not his. He claims it wasn't his. He claims he never said that. He never drew women on cards. And I think that his record of telling the truth about these hoaxes is unparalleled. I remember when Donald Trump said, Obama tapped my phone back in 2017 when he first became president. During the campaign, he claimed it. Everyone laughed at him. It has turned out to be absolutely true. And so when Donald Trump said, I never wrote that, I have never drawn that picture and have cards sent to Jeffrey Epstein, never happened. I believe him. And I think that it is incumbent upon whatever authors here claim to show the letter. So, I mean, as your Susan Crabtree said, that would be normal journalism to basically, okay, let's have a PDF of what this supposed letter looks like so everyone can see it. The description by some source published in the Wall Street Journal, I think that Donald Trump should have sued for $100 billion. I mean, this is taking on, again, a hoax of a sitting president trying to hand tie him on the beginning of his next term. He recognized it immediately. I think that's why he was so angry. He sees them spinning up the exact same thing they tried to tie him up with from the beginning of his first term, and he's not having it. And so I think that, unfortunately, our side contributed some because of our desire to see the elites face justice. And I think there was a lot of sturm and drang or anger coming at Trump because our side really wants to know what happened here. And Trump is basically saying, look at what I'm doing. I am fulfilling all my promises. Within 6 months, I fulfilled almost all of them already. And you people are talking about something that the Democrats are using to try and hamstring me. And so I think his anger was correct. I think people didn't understand. It sounded like he was yelling at us, but he wasn't. He was yelling because he knew that this ridiculous hoax was in process with the Wall Street Journal. And in my opinion, the Wall Street Journal, sane people trying to, gin up another hoax by the Clinton people ultimately in order to try and get Trump hamstring again. And I do not think it's going to work. I think it's over with already. The whole thing is ridiculous, and I don't think they have any more cards to play, to quote our great president.
Good. I have one question for you about Epstein, and I'm going to let it go. And then I just want to play a brief soundbite of something else before we jump on out of here. Princess Diana, Jeffrey Epstein was a teacher in the New York school system, and all of a sudden he became a billionaire. How'd that happen?
Well, everyone wants to know that. Believe it or not, it's a very interesting history. He was hired with no credentials by Bill Barr, who is the former attorney general. His father, Donald Barr, who I think could be the Donald in this actual letter, actually. And so there were a lot of deep state connections. Donald Barr once was in the spy services and hired Jeffrey Epstein, and the connections were made there. Very dark connections with billionaires and some connections with spy services. No one really has revealed which countries.
Okay. Just axing. Now, there is another law.
Go ahead.
There's a totally different lawsuit going on. Let me play you very quickly the basis for that lawsuit. Carlos?
Mom.
No. That's not the right one. I wanted to know the one. I'll just do it this way. Donald Trump stopped the payments for the high-speed rail boondoggle in California. $17 billion spent. Thing was supposed to be finished in 2020. Not a single piece of track has been laid. Yeah.
We have some breaking news. Just in moments ago, President Trump saying that he is ending government funding for California's high-speed rail project. The president says the rail that was promised does not exist and never will. The bullet train was supposed to connect L.A. to the Bay Area. It was originally expected to cost $33 billion, but now estimates range between $89 billion and $128 billion. Governor Newsom responded, saying California is putting all options on the table to fight this legal action.
California is now suing Donald Trump for stopping this.
I put that on the list. One of the reasons I think Trump has been so frustrated is because his successes have been really undermined. Nobody's reporting on all the amazing successes he's had. They're all obsessing with Epstein. But I put that on the list. I think, basically ending federal, graft money going to the high-speed train to nowhere was one of the big stories of the week, successes of the week. The other thing I wanted to mention on his successes is from SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States. No one has noticed this, but the Supreme Court of the United States has issued 15 rulings on emergency applications filed by Trump. The Supreme Court of the United States has granted relief to Trump in all 15 rulings, which is amazing, and which brings me to celebrate Pam Bondi, who came under enormous attack from our side, unfortunately, because of the Epstein situation. This is what she has been doing. This fighting the weaponization, legal weaponization of the courts. She has been responsible, the Department of Justice has been responsible for arguing these cases all the way up to the Supreme Court and winning every single one of them. And that matters more to our country going forward and enacting Trump's legislative and, policy agenda than almost anything else. So I wanted to celebrate those successes. His legislative successes, signing the one big beautiful bill, which no one thought was possible with very paper-thin majorities, the rescission package where he clawed back $9 billion, ending federal funding for NPR and PBS and various foreign aid. This is a success that our side has been talking about for decades, and Trump got it done. And so there are, basically running a $27 billion surplus last month, which, is one of these things as a result of the tariffs. We suddenly have $113 billion coming in from tariffs and very little inflation. All of the doom and gloom predictions have turned out to be false. Bessent said, our Treasury Secretary said, that tariff money could reach $300 billion by the end of this year. And what he's been able to do to reorganize, dismantle government agencies, targeting the less money factories and funding centers, the NGOs, the nonprofits, academia, and law firms. He is ending DEI and all of the trans policy nonsense. His border has been so successful. We have had 0 illegal immigrants released into the United States versus tens of thousands every month last year. And so the other thing that gets little notice is the return of dozens of detained Americans all over the world. And as of yesterday, 10 came back from Venezuela. Nobody in the media has ever reported on these detained Americans, and Trump is getting them back. And that is just 5 or 6 of the most important things that have happened that have gotten basically drowned out by this nonsense about Epstein.
Princess Diana, God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you
dwell
too.
on that, folks. Dwell on that. And the list, and by the way, and we could go on for another half an hour talking about the accomplishments of this administration. It's unbelievable.
So wonderful.
Indeed. Princess Diana, thank you. Voice of clarity. Always appreciate you. Thanks for joining us twice today. Love that. Thank you, Princess Di.
Anytime.
James Golden Snerdley here. Your calls are going to come up, and we're going to take as many calls as we can. America's Small Caffeinated Mom also coming up. If we can, we'll get to some audio sound bites. Tomorrow's the birthday. The one, the only Mexican-American rock guitarist who is a legend in his own time. And well-deserved. Carlos Santana. Happy birthday, Santana.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Remember this from 60 Minutes, Leslie Stahl, Donald Trump?
Walk out of a store, and he's walking with an ice cream. And the question the media asks him, what kind of ice cream, what flavor ice cream do you have? And he's in the midst of a scandal.
He's not.
And he's taking,
He's
of course
not.
he is,
No,
Leslie.
come on.
Of course he is. It's the biggest, second biggest scandal.
So-
the biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my
Well,
campaign,
there's no
Leslie.
real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? This is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't
No,
verify.
you won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look, let
put
me tell
on
you.
things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know.
We know it, and it's all coming out. Your calls are coming up. Hour number trio continues. America's Small Caffeinated Mom, too. So whatever you do, do not go away. Keep it right here.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My friends, many of you are planning your road trips, and some of those road trips are going to happen in the South of America. And so we thought we'd just bring you this little travel advisory if you planning a road trip down south.
If you ain't from the South, let me introduce you to a special breed of law enforcement, otherwise known as the state trooper, also known as sir, yes sir, just please don't write me a ticket, sir. First of all, they don't look like regular cops. They look like they auditioned for a Wrangler bootcut jeans commercial and didn't get the job because they were too intimidating. They've got them Smokey the Bear hats pulled down so far you can't tell if they're looking at you or reading your thoughts. First off, we've got the worst of the worst, Georgia State Patrol. You don't see a Georgia State Patrol. They spawn out of nowhere. Do not even imagine going 3 mile an hour over, or they were right there behind you, blue lights and all. And it's not like just getting pulled over. It is a whole spiritual experience. You start confessing crimes that you didn't even think of committing. And them South Carolina State Troopers, they fit them cars in spots a Hot Wheels wouldn't fit in. They're hiding behind pine trees that got cut down out of the median 8 years ago. And somehow, some way, Southern State Trooper cars are always clean, like they're cleaned with sweetgrass leaves and holy water. North Carolina State Troopers, they're pulling you over, you're getting a ticket, and a 30-minute lecture. And poor Florida State Troopers, boy, they've seen it all. Naked men running down I-10, gator riding shotgun, that's just a Wednesday for them. So if you're road tripping through the South, do 2 under the speed limit and save yourself some time. Because, yeah, your GPS may say you're getting there 2 minutes earlier, but that GSP, he said you're going to be 2 hours late.
That is the chairman of the board. On this day, well, tomorrow, the 20th of July in 1940, Billboard published their first comprehensive record chart. The new chart combined top sellers from all major record labels. The first #1 song in America. This one, I'll Never Smile Again, by Frank Sinatra and the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. Old Blue Eyes, the first #1 hit single in the United States of America. James Golden, Snerdley.
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
Thank you for your patience. Horst in Queens, you are on. Thank you for waiting.
Okay, I tried everything I could do to help Trump win the election. And every time I went to a restaurant and I gave the tip to the help, I told them, the Democrats are giving you 80,000 IRS agents. Trump's going to give you free tips. But now a lot of these people that I tip, they come back with stories talking about their relatives that have been in this country 15 years and have children getting arrested by ISIS. If they keep going after these people, the Trump administration is going to lose a big chunk of their Spanish vote. They have to do immigration reform, and they have to do something for people who've been here 10 or more years, give them a 10-year work permit before they could get a green card. There has to be something fair, because it's not the fault of the people that came into this country. It's the crooked politicians that messed this up.
Number one, look, first of all, I understand what you're saying, and I do think that there needs to be a compassionate attitude toward many people that are being deported. That said, I think that we have to follow the law, period. We always have sympathy for what we see. We see these people. We see what's happening to them. There is no sympathy for the people that we don't see, the immigrants who have been waiting and going through very difficult times in their countries, going through all kinds of hell, because they decided they respect and love America enough that if they are granted citizenship, they want to come here the right way. There's no sympathy for those people whatsoever and what they've gone through. Now, some of these cases are heart-wrenching, and I see them, and my heart hurts for some of the pain, especially that these children are going through. But there are consequences to actions. I wouldn't dream of breaking another country's law by going in there illegally and demanding that the taxpayers take care of me, or even if I'm going to work and pay taxes in that country, by breaking their laws. There is no respect for American law. And the idea that people are just entitled to break our laws, while you have every citizen of the United States, if you go into every single neighborhood in the hood, you'll find people that are thrown in jail, separated from their families. Their families cry too. There's no sympathy. Oh, they've been here all their lives, so therefore, when they're thrown in the clinker, when they're thrown in jail, let's have a boo-hoo party for them. In fact, and the opposite happens. There's cheering. Get these people off the street. Make these people obey the law. So I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that if this country is going to return to a respect for the law, this has to be done. And one of the things I think is horrible in this is that the churches and everything and some of these institutions that used to teach society right and wrong have fallen into politics instead of right and wrong. But Horst, I love your heart, and I hear what you're saying. And please call us again. Appreciate it. Let me grab quickly Robert in South Carolina. Robert, you're up next. Got to make it quick, though. We got to head to a break shortly.
Yeah, thank you. The deep state is everywhere. Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino can't get anything done because in the organization, they're not getting any information. You give them tips, you call in for a tip, and the information never gets to the right people. For instance,
Robert, let me just correct you on that. Plenty is getting done. We're getting done more in this administration than any other Republican president in history. And I don't know, maybe you have a special track to what's happening inside the DOJ, but from what I can tell, the DOJ is busy full-time, and they are getting things done. If you want to cite to me some specifics of what's not being done, I'll welcome you to call back with those, and I'll take a listen at them. Look, thanks for the call. We got to head to a break. James Golden, Snerdley, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, Rhonda Schrock is coming up. Did you ever hear this one before, Carlos?
Never heard this before.
You never heard this before? Yeah, well, this is the one that started. It was written by the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson. In fact, Brian Wilson's on back vocals on this. But this is one of the first surf songs in the whole surf era. You had to be there, I guess. Surf culture started from all of this.
No, nothing about it.
2 girls for every boy.
Sounds interesting.
Coming back, don't go away, folks.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh man, does this bring back memories? Bob Dylan, 1965, the anniversary date tomorrow. This song was over 6 minutes long. Twice as long as the average pop song back then. It peaked at number 2 on the charts, but this was Bob Dylan's first breakout hit, 1965. America's Small Caffeinated Mom is here. Rhonda Schrock. Rhonda, welcome. How are you today?
Good morning, James. I just have to tell you, I am really enjoying your show today. You are laying everything out so beautifully. It's easy to understand, and it's fascinating.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Rhonda. And for all those other days that I don't do a good job, I'll just keep that in mind.
Oh,
I love you, Rhonda. Thank you.
Absolutely good. Yes, it is. So today, James, what I'm going to talk about is a time of personal reflection for me, and that is because I have a birthday coming up. I look at the number, and I think there's no way that number is right. It cannot be right because I do not feel that old. In fact, here recently, I had a foot race, an actual full-on foot race through the house with my teenager. And afterward, he said something kind of funny. He said, Mom, I'm glad that you're still so active because a lot of older folks aren't anymore. If there were awards for left-handed compliments, I would nominate him. But I knew what he was saying, and I thought it was kind of insightful. I was not planning to have a caboose when I was right close to the age of 40, but that's what happened. And so, like my Aunt Esther used to say, that's how the ball bounces, and so here we are. So, yes.
Rhonda, I'm not going to comment on that. I'm just going to let that one go right by. Just continue, please.
Yes. So anyway, I've been thinking about it at this.
Grant, you're a lucky man.
I love it. Thank you, James. You know, life just did not go like I thought it would. When I was a kid, I thought that parents and teachers lived on easy street. You know, my mom could make me scrub toilets, iron shirts down in the basement, clean the house, do the dusting, all the boring things. And I didn't have a choice. I had to do it. Teachers could assign math, and I hated math. When the teacher said, get your math books out, I just got clear mad. If I would have thought about it, James, I probably would have prayed, you know, lightning bolt, earthquake, anything to save me from math, because I could not see how learning when a train leaving Cleveland at 60, when it would meet a train coming from Denver at 40, what did it matter? Well, I just gritted my teeth, and I got through it. And I grew up, and for 1 year, I taught school. I taught a class of third and fourth graders, and I did not even think about it at the time that there was a preponderance of boys. It was prescient because I grew up even more and married a blue-eyed man, the one you just mentioned, and we had a preponderance of boys, and suddenly I was a teacher. But not for 9 months. It's been for much longer than 9 months, and there were no summer breaks. Over the years, I have said so often to my husband, let's get a dog. I said, no, you said I want trouble, chaos, poverty, confusion. And he just grimaces and he says, oh, I said that, did I? Well, as it turns out, I'm so glad that we did not choose to raise puppies instead of boys, because those boys have taught me more about life and God and faith than probably about anything else in my life ever has. And I've learned that being the teacher, being the person on the other side of the desk, is much harder than it looks. And being the parent dispensing all the tasks is much harder than it looks. So as I was dealing with all those little complaining Israelites, so to speak, that's what I would tell them. This is harder than it looks, and you will live to tell about it. Well, to my great surprise, when one of the most vehement protesters and the expert at evading work, when he grew up and he left home, he was ready to drive out the lane, and he said to me these words, Mom, thank you for teaching me how to work. I was stunned. And then he said this too, with tears rolling, I cannot say how much I love how you raised me. What a payoff for not eating them like they do in the animal kingdom. I let them live to tell about it, and they grew up to be these stellar young men. So on the eve of my birthday, I just think actually this is an important exercise for all of us. It's good to reflect on our lives, and these are some of the questions I ask myself. In the last year, did I make a difference in the lives of other people? And names and faces begin to scroll through my mind. The second question I think about is, am I healthier than I was a year ago? And I mean healthy in every way, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of it. Am I healthier than I was a year ago? It's a question worth reflecting on. The third thing I think about is what did I learn from the hard things that happened? Because not only did my sons teach me the hard things that I have been through in life have pushed me to be the person I am, and the most difficult people in my life have done the same. They have pushed me to pursue God with my whole heart and my whole being. And again, it has shaped me into the person that I am. So what did I learn from the hard things that happened this last year? What is the quality of my relationships? Two of our kids are still living at home, and they have started a new habit. Every night, they come into our room as we're stirring around, getting ready for bed, and they plop into two easy chairs, and they just talk to their dad and I for a while. I cannot tell you how much I love that. In so many ways, the relationships in my life are just so healthy and thriving and flourishing, and it gives me joy every day. The last question that's worth thinking about is, where do I want to be in a year from now? As long as we're alive, there is a work for us to do. There is hope for us. There is a purpose for us. And the hard things that we still haven't quite mastered, we're still alive. We can keep working on them. Like my youngest son says, forward, just one step forward. And for me, James, this is what I know. This is how I live. Every day of my life takes me one step closer to the ultimate gift and the ultimate reward, which is heaven. Those are my reflections this year as I finish up 57 years around the sun, and I start number 58. That's what I've been thinking about.
Wow. Rhonda, where can people find your essay this week?
It's on thedailybs.com, which is your website. And they can find me.
They can
at
find
Rhonda,
you. And they can find you in cyberspace, right? Where?
Yes. RhondaSchrock.com, SCHROCK. I also have
Rhonda,
a little go ahead.
We want to wish you a very, very happy birthday, young lady.
Thank you.
And if you think you're wondering how quickly it got here now, you just wait. I got news for you. It's amazing how quickly the time passes. But it is also amazing when you stop and think about all of these experiences that you've had that got you where you are. And you are just such a delight and such a source of inspiration. So I know that I speak for many when we all wish you the very, very happiest of birthday, and we thank you. We tell you that we appreciate you and that we love you so much.
That means so much. You know, James, even though we're aging, outwardly our bodies are aging, inwardly we can be strengthened more and more day by day, and that's the best.
That is the best. I like what you said about going forward. We keep that in mind. Thank you, Rhonda. We love you.
Thank you. I love you so much.
Happy birthday. Let's get back quickly to the telephones. If we can squeeze in a call or two. Bridget in New Jersey has been waiting. Bridget, how are you?
Okay, James. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
That's good. Just real quickly, I just want to find out why it is that if Donald Trump, which I do love, my family voted for him both terms, why would he run on a law and order plateau and say that that's what he's bringing back? Yes, he's been doing a lot of good things, but this issue of farm workers and hospitality workers and wanting to claim that you want to go ahead, he says, no, it's not amnesty, but they're looking at some things. Tom Homan said it earlier this week, that they're considering, obviously, trying to help people that have been here for quite some time that work in various industries in the U.S., but they are illegal. And they always want to say we want to get the criminal illegals out. And I'm like, wait a minute, criminal illegals? Republicans have now donned that term. If you have people that have broken your border laws, it is still a criminal offense. And the issue is, everyone wants to talk about the children that have been abused, which, yes, there have been, that have been brought here illegally. But the fact is that Americans, just like my people, I'm African American, we all had all of our people work their tails off. My great-grandfathers were in the wars. The fact is that we're not the ones that are getting any benefits whatsoever as far as where our tax dollars are going. Our tax dollars are going to pay. Now they want to give illegals $1,000 in order to self-deport. You broke our laws. Why is it that the American taxpayer, people that are still struggling because of the Biden administration, because guess what? Even though things have been slowly happening as far as financially, the economy is still not where it needs to be at. And
the economy is growing. Bridget, first of all, I want you to call back either during the week. Well, I'm going to take many calls during the week, but next week. And let's discuss this. I'll see you. I'll get to you earlier because you unpacked a lot. I will say this. They're not trying to help the people so much as they're trying to help the businesses that this is affecting. But on that note, I'm going to have to leave, folks, because it's time to go. Hour number 3, getting ready to go into the camp. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are all back tomorrow. Well, Monday. And I'm glad to have my crew back. All of them, safe and sound. Carlos, Kelvin, TJ, love you guys. Show wouldn't happen without you. See you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?